I have a Tascam 122 Mark III cassette deck. The VU meter lights are out for starters. Apparently it has a transport issue as well, so we're going to take a look at that and see. These are very good tape deck. There's a 3-head deck, Dolby B and C, and a very good tape deck. Let's observe what's going on here. Let's see, when I press play.
Underneath the hood, there's a power surge, frustration rising, gotta make that merge.
What's wrong with the left channel? The left channel's got some distortion.
Where the legends of red wires and circuits will never lose sight with we're igniting night. From batteries to motors, we'll clear out the rust. Trust in the process, and 12 ovens we trust. Fix it right with 12 ovens.
The left channel's cutting out.
Never on the skids. Plug it in, tune it up. What's the magic on? Yeah, we're rolling out. The world's a mess, but we're standing proud. Underneath the hood, there's a power surge. Frustration rising, gotta make that merge. Tools in hand, got the knowledge in my head. At 12 volt is where the legends are bred. Wires and circuits will never lose sight. With every fix, we're igniting the night. From batteries to motors, we'll clear out the rust. Trust in the process, and 12 volt bids we trust.
That's not really minutes and seconds. It seems to go awful fast for a minute or seconds.
Yeah. Oh, big up to all the viewers. Listen to the vibes. Down in the heart of the beat, we're rolling tonight. 12 all vids, got the spark, everything's alright. From cars to the sounds that make you feel free. We're grateful for the love, you're the family. Late nights and bright lights, cruising the lane. With every video drop, you're calling our name. So we sing it loud, let the world hear our sound. Big thanks to you all for being around. Big thanks to you all for being around. Thank you for watching every single view. Vibe so real, we're sharing it with you.
Okay, so
when your gadgets start to falter and fade, and your worries keep on piling like a never-ending parade, don't you fret, don't you stew, just take a breath. 12 odd vids is the answer, it's like a sweet caress. From screens that flicker to those tangled wires, we'll bring the spark back and ignite your desire. Smooth fix by 12 all vids, so let it roll for the mat. When your gadgets start to falter and fade, and your worries keep on piling like a never-ending parade, don't you fret, don't you stew, just take a breath. 12 volt vids is the answer, it's like a sweet caress. From screens that flicker to those tangled wires, we'll bring the spark back and ignite your desires. Smooth fix by 12 all vids, oh let it roll. We're the magic touch restoring your soul. With a gentle fire spark and your fuse ignites. You've got the power, don't you ever fret.
Now, the complaint on this one was, he said when he first fires it up, it doesn't move, and he has to go fast forward, rewind a few times to get it to work. And it could be, there's a couple things that could cause that on this. This is a very good transport on this machine. It's 3-motor direct drive. So there's a direct drive motor here. It looks like one cap's already been replaced on here. One of these surface mounted caps, they tend to fail on these direct drive mechanisms. But one's been replaced on it already. It's a direct drive capstan motor, which is as good as you can get. My Technics has a direct drive capstan motor, as does my JVC. My 3-head JVC has a direct drive. Actually, it's a dual capstan. It has a direct drive capstan motor and then a belt driving the second capstan, which provides the back tension for the heads. This is from 95. 11th of January 95 is the date code on the motor here. So this is a 95 deck. One of the better tape decks you can actually find is one of these. If you can find a Tascam 122 Mark III at a good price, I would say buy it, because this is a very good tape deck. And I would take this over any Nakamichi, any of them. I would take this over any Nakamichi deck, because Nakamichi were overrated. These were tape decks that found their way into studios, and a lot of radio stations used these Tascams because they were workhorses. They would go on all day long and never skip a beat. There is a mode switch down here which could be contributing to the it not going into fast forward or rewind properly. It also could be slipping somewhere in here. Maybe some grease that's dried out on the pendulum gear that flips back and forth. We'll have to inspect that. And the dial lights are out. That's what this one's in for.
Down in the valley where the sun shines low, a man named Jake got a problem, don't you know? His truck won't start, it's a sad old sight. But with 12 volt bids, he'll be rolling tonight. YouTube screens glowing in the evening shade, with expert tips that'll never fade. From batteries to wires, they make it clear. 12 volt bids got the answers right here. Oh, 12 volt bids, they'll fix your stuff. From engines to gadgets, the times might get tough. When you're feeling low and the world's looking rough,
It just goes on and on.
Chill vibes, please. In a world full of troubles, things start to break. Got a flickering light or a battery ache. You don't gotta.
To take off the cover, there's a little latch here. You just pop that up and then the cover will lift off. So now we can access the mechanism a little easier. Nothing looks to be sticking on here. I'm just checking it. I'm going to pull the deck out. Just going to unplug it here. We'll pop a few screws and lift the transport out so that I can inspect it a little better. There's basically 4 screws, 2 here and 2 down on the side, and then the transport will just lift right out. Come on, you know. Could it get any easier than that? I mean, that's why you buy decks like this. You don't buy crap like Nakamichi that you take half a day to take apart. Same with Techniques. You know, how long does it take to take a transport out of one of those? You're fiddle farting around, and don't get me started on Marantz. This is the way it should have been done from everybody. Just 4 screws, the whole deck pops out. Now you can work on it. Everything plugs in. Just undo the plugs. I should take that stupid zip tie out of there, it's in the way. But undo the plugs there, undo the audio plugs over here. They're all color coded, so you can't put them in the wrong place. Now you can work on the deck. out of the cabinet. We have a mode switch here, which is basically just a piece of circuit board stock with the contacts on it, and the cam gear turns around and it's got a couple of wipers that make contact. Can we see it on camera? Anyway, this is the mode switch here. That needs to get cleaned up. This plastic cam here, that's what raises and lowers the head. See, it pushes that. There's a cam on here, that's what raises the head up and down, and it's all done through this one cam gear. And it's direct drive. There's no belts in here. This is direct drive from this cam gear motor that operates the mechanism control. You've got another motor over here. This is also direct drive that drives the take up and supply spools. I want to get to this. I'm going to open this up. I want to take out these screws. I want to get in behind here and see what the condition of the idler is and see if there's any grease that's dried up on it, because that sometimes causes problems on these very easy to service cassette decks. There's a light on the back of this for the tape compartment. What I'm checking here is the brakes, and to make sure that the spindles are not gummed up in any way, which they're not. Remove the brakes and see that there's no binding up of anything here. We'll check the head, make sure that there's no binding up here. That looks good too. All moving nice and smooth, so there's no problems here. I want to take a look at the drive motors and the gears. There's a couple screws that can take out on this, and this should slip the entire mechanism out. I think there's only the 2 screws. There might be another one on the bottom. And there's a couple more back here. Just the one. I should lift this mechanism out. I guess I have to pull the capstan motor out because it's in the way. So there's 3 more screws here. This will lift the capstan. The capstan motor will come out now. These 3 are the ones I'm going to take out. You know, so I'm putting the screws in very specific areas, so they're kept grouped together. These caps should be replaced on here. There's leaking. You can see leakage. So we're going to change these caps out because they're already taking a piss on the board. You can see the corrosion on here. And this should lift out the capstan motor, or the back of it, for that matter. And how holds that one in place? I get it. I'm not going to take that nut out of there. There's a nut on the front. I could have taken out and lifted the whole thing out. I guess I could do that. All because I want to inspect the reel tables. Okay, I'm going to put this back on for now. Here's our motor coils and our Hall effect sensors. Hey, they look the same as those Hall effect sensors on the Sony, don't they? Got 2 of them here. That's for speed. Or actually, that's for rotation. There's a frequency generator. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a frequency generator on the actual capstan itself, on the flywheel itself. There's a frequency generator. Now I can remove the motor completely, like that. And now I can remove the reel pack, so we can take a look at the clutches and so forth here, make sure there's nothing that's broken. It does have an idler on here. I wonder if that's slipping. Could be the idler tire is a bit tired. It's a bad joke. A tired tire. Although it does have a fair bit of torque, I can make it slip. Yeah, I think this tire is probably getting a bit, dare I say it, tired. Don't see anything slippery on the hubs themselves. If I remove these two screws, I can pop the motor out with the tire on it. Not cracked or anything. Nothing broken. I think this tire probably could do with some rubber renew. It's not worn to the point that that's slipping excessively. I don't have one of this size, and I don't know where I would get one. Probably can still get it from TAC or Tascam, but the last time I ordered a little belt from my DAT machine, which was years ago, one little tiny belt cost me $50. By the time the belt was like 10, or I think it was $10 for the belt. But by the time it arrived here, I had to pay shipping, and then I had to pay broker fees, and I had to pay tax because, you know, they wouldn't ship it out by post. They could have just put it in a little envelope, but oh no. These guys had to ship FedEx. That's the only way that they did it back then. And it was coming from California. And, well, needless to say, a belt that should have been like $5, but because I had to buy it from TAC was, you know, $10 US. So by the time that $10 US was converted to Canadian, it was probably closer to, I don't know, the dollar was pretty low back then. That was a number of years ago. It's probably more like about $14 Canadian. And then there was shipping on top of that, which was, I think it was $20, or was it $30? It might have been $20 US, which is like $30 Canadian. And then there was broker fees added on top of that. So it was relatively expensive to get this stupid little belt. So as you can see, the fair bit of oxidation came off of that idler. So we're going to put this back into the unit, and I'm going to do the I'm going to do the caps on that motor that are leaking because they have to be done. Otherwise, this thing's going to be a problem. So we'll start reassembling this. Put this back into the transport. These screws will hold that in place. That one and two more on the top. As far as the mode switch goes, I'm just going to give it a shot of cleaner because it's easy to access it without taking it all apart. All right, let's deal with the bad caps on here. Looks like there's 10 microfarad and a 1 microfarad, another 10, and a 4.7. That one was changed before. Someone changed that one out. But these other ones here, as you can see, yeah, they're leaking. I can smell it. So we'll get some caps and change them out. The lands are big enough that I can solder down to them. That's a 3.3. We'll get the other 3.3 out of here as well. Alright, let's get the two 3.3s in. At least there's room to mount them on this one. And why was I in a hurry, you might wonder? Well, because it was a pretty important hockey game that I was watching the Stanley Cup finals or the semifinals. Gonna watch Edmonton win tonight because I want to see Edmonton play against who is it? The Panthers. Panthers won. They beat the Hurricanes. So it's gonna, if Edmonton wins tonight, it'll be a Panther Oiler Stanley Cup final. And it doesn't get any better than that because so it's time for us to bring the cup back home where it belongs because it was stolen years ago from us and we want it back. Okay, this is a 10, this one's a 10, so we'll throw a little 10 in here. I got a couple small 10s that will fit nicely in here. Okay, that's the first 10. This next one is a 1 microfarad. We'll do that one next. You guys need smell vision. It smells like the back end of a tuna schooner in here with the stuff that's sizzling away on the board here that's come out of these craps. And finally, this last one is another 4.7. The trace looks like it's damaged. I'll find another place to stick it on there. This trace is lifting a bit here. Where does it go back to? It looks like it goes back to this resistor here. that should keep this motor going for many more years, until one of the Hall effect sensors fails. Yeah, then it won't work. As you can see, the flywheel on here is nice. I mean, they'll spin forever. There's a frequency generator. You can see it here. Those wires go to it. There's a frequency generator right around the edge here on that little circuit board. That detects the magnet. It spins on there and detects the speed. Through there, we'll open up the mechanism again here and drop the motor back in place. It only goes in one way, as it is keyed. And then I can put that nut back on and tighten that in place, and then we'll put the mechanism back together and give it a spin, and then I'll tackle the burned out light bulbs. Okay, transport's back together. We'll just pop it back in the chassis and plug it in and make sure that it works. There's the caps I changed out. It's very easy to get to. It's right here. Just a little shot on top of that switch will keep it clean. That's all you gotta do. Whoops, didn't want that, but I got some on the switch, which is really all I want. Two more screws. Get the long screwdriver for this. One that goes down here, and then one on the other side. Okay, we'll start plugging stuff back in. We'll start with the heads. And two more that go over here, a red one and a white one, and they're different numbers of pins. Like this one's a 4-header, this one's a 5-header, even though they only use 3 on it. But they do that so that you can't accidentally plug the wrong one into the wrong plug. Again, companies like, I don't know, was it Techniques? Or was it Yamaha? Who was it? Which brand was it? They had to mark them. Well, maybe, oh no, you know what? It was Marantz. I had to mark the connector so I knew which one they went into, because they had a bunch of them that were the same size, which just makes no sense. Make the connectors different sizes so that your servicer cannot accidentally plug the wrong one in. That's how you do it. And you use color coding too, right? If your connectors have specific pins and they're color coded, you'll never make a mistake when you're plugging things in. And then there's one more black connector that plugs in right there. Okay, this is ready for testing. Power on. We'll check the idler out first, see how high the torque is. That looks good. Play.
Full of troubles, things start to break. Got a flicker, a battery ache. Gotta worry, don't stress.
Those controls are clean. This is auto monitor. We can switch. It's coming off the radio. All right. It has auto monitor. If I hit record, if I hit pause and record, it would switch over to. Otherwise, it's in play. If you want to hear, you want to monitor the input. It's like your source, right? Source tape, auto tape. It's always in tape unless you hit record. If you want to monitor the input. Anyway,
Out 12 volt vids is what it's all about. Fixing up
I
the
didn't
gadgets,
record this at
bringing
very
back the
loud
flow
level.
with a simple click. Just watch your worries.
And the reason I didn't record this at a really loud level is in my office inside the house where my JVC tape deck that I recorded this on is located. I have a rack with Betacam player, 3/4 inch player, Betamax player sitting on a little table right in front of the cabinet that the tape deck sits in, and I couldn't reach it. I just threw the tape in and I hit record and I played it back on the computer, the tracks that I had on the computer to record onto the tape, and I didn't even bother to look at the level. I'm probably at like probably minus 10, peaking at minus 10 or minus 7. It was pathetic.
Troubleshooting magic, oh, it's so neat.
Anyway, that was just for doing a test. So I didn't have the level set, and again, the only reason I didn't have the level set is because I couldn't reach the record level knob without moving this table that's got, it's on a cart, right, that I can wheel around, but I have to move some stuff to wheel it out of the way because I got a couple boxes of tapes that I'm transferring when people bring me their boxes of tapes. I have an in pile and an out pile. Put them in separate boxes. So I didn't want to mix the tapes up. I didn't want to mix the boxes up as I'm working on it. So I'm not moving it. I'm just going to reach in there and press the button, and I couldn't reach the level control. So yeah, that's all. But that's fine. It's fine. It works fine.
The volume, feel the beat. 12 volts, they'll fix your stuff. Lay back, repairs when the going gets tough.
That's me. I'll fix your stuff.
From circuits to batteries, they're the crew you need. With every little fix they plan to see. Oh, 12 volt.
You won't be hearing this too much as my opening, but you will be hearing it when I'm testing stuff. So get used to it. You see, when I ran these AI samples, I just recorded. I didn't buy them. You can buy the full track, but they give you a track that's a little over a minute in length of kind of a preview. They give you the first minute, so you can decide whether you want it or not, and then they give you 5 minutes to decide. Do you want to buy it or don't you want to buy it? And then after 5 minutes is up, even if I went in and picked and put the same keywords in, I'd get a different song. It would make it differently. You know, it's like all those tracks. I only put in, I think, 12 volts vids will fix your stuff. And I got like, and the other one I put in was 12 volt vids turning garbage into gold. Those were the two keywords I used. And I made like 15 different variations of those two phrases. And every time it comes out differently. So when you want to, if you want to buy a track, you have to have, first of all, you have to have credits on there because you have to buy the credits. And then you have to make up your mind whether you like it. And if you like it, then you buy it. And then you own it. But it's kind of neat, actually. I know there's going to be people out there that hate it because they just hate anything to do with AI. And I can understand now why musicians are upset, actors are upset, writers are upset. They're all upset because if they're in that profession, unfortunately, they can see their career disappearing, and disappearing relatively quickly. This is not something where if you're an actor or a musician, oh, I got 20 years, it's not going to happen. No, this is happening now. Anybody in that field of work is probably worrying about how they're going to pay their bills because, I don't know, it's pretty convincing. It's pretty convincing. I got to admit that.
Things start to break, got a flickering light or a battery ache. You don't gotta worry,
I am a musician. I play the guitar and I play the bass and I can play the keyboards a little bit. I'm very rusty because I haven't played in years, but when I was younger, I played in a couple bands when I was much younger. Just horsing around with some friends, right? But none of us were serious that we were going to make it big. Although had we stuck with it, I'm sure some of us probably could have gone somewhere. But when I was in high school, we were just horsing around, right? But and we like to play Smoke on the Water. I don't know, we seem to be able to play that one pretty good. And just turn the volume all the way up to 12, and then have that knock on the door when the police showed up when we were practicing in my friend's garage, saying, you guys want to just turn it down just a little bit because your neighbors are getting upset with your crappy playing. And we were pretty bad. But anyway, let's tackle the lights. I gotta pull these ones out. One of my little friend, as the plug comes out there, this whole meter board should just, I think the whole meter's just lift right out on the seat. So there's the meters. Where are the lights? They're probably built well. An old friend that's a musician that did make it big. The guy with the 48 Buick with the metric speedometer in it that he brought from Germany. He was in a band, and he made it big back in the 60s for a while there, and they did studio stuff. But he's got like Tascam stuff. He's got a Cubase system now in the studio, and he had DAT and he had ADAT for multi-track, and a DA30, which he gave me, and he has one of these. And I said, hey Al, if you ever want to get rid of that cassette deck, you know who would take it off your hands? He goes, nope. I'm not letting, no, that's the one I'm keeping. I'm keeping that tape deck. He's got this, I think his was the Mark II. He had the 122, I think his was the Mark II. It was virtually identical to this. But I've serviced it for years for him. And I said, you know, if you want to sell that or you want to get rid of it, just let me know. I'll take it off your hands. And no, he wants to keep it. And I don't blame him, because these units here were great units. So these units, they put the lights in series. 14 ohms, open. Let's check the voltage. Measuring across the lights, I'm in DC volt mode. It's 14.6 volts, so those are probably 6 or 7 volt bulbs, maybe 8 volt bulbs that were there. Could be an 8. Don't want them too bright, maybe a 9. I'll look and see if I've got any incandescent bulbs that I might be able just to stick in there on that dead meter side. Yeah, but so call it 15 volts, 7.5 volts. I think I got my 12 volt LEDs. They're little strips rated for 12 volts, but it's going to be so bloody bright. Like if I put those in, like I've got a strip of them here. I got several strips of them here. These, you know, they come in 3. You cut them in 3s, right? Take 3 at a time. But I think giving them that kind of voltage, they're just going to be so bloody bright that it's just going to overpower the meter. If I wire these in series, these are rated at 12 volts. I got my power supply set for 7.6, and they'll glow like that. And that might be enough light for the meters, you know. I'm going to wire them in series because it's got 15 volts on it now. If I give this 12, I'm not going to give it 15 because it'll blow the LEDs out, but at 12 volts, just so you can see how bright they are, they would just be obnoxiously bright. You know, that's way too bright for a meter. So I think if I put them in series and disconnect the one incandescent that's actually working, we might be able to do it. It might look okay. We'll try that. Now this is the blown one. Carefully remove the lamp. Positive on this side, negative on that. Don't worry, you won't see that. Alright, let me cut this down into a strip of half the 3 LED strip. And will it fit across here? It might. I might get lucky and be able to solder it right across here. I'll have to tape up one so it doesn't short out. But I might be able to put it right across here on the meter. We're going to try that. Got the meters back together with the lights in the bottom here. I may have to modify this and just give them full voltage each, but we'll plug them in onto the original supply. That'll give them about 7.5 volts each. I think they're probably not going to be bright enough. I'm going to have to increase the voltage. Get that voltage up, 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 I say. How do they look? Are they acceptable or are they dim? They look pretty dim. I can say, turn out the lights in here and see if I can see them. But they're pretty dim. I think if I were to give them 12 volts each or whatever, they might be too bright. If you follow my drill. But let me just kill some lights in here because it's really bright in the studio here. I'm going to have to cut the trace here to isolate the two of them so that I can wire them in parallel, and we'll see how bright they are. They're probably going to be too bright when they're wired in parallel, but and then it'll be adding dropping resistors to drop the voltage down to make them a little less how do we say it, obnoxious. So I'm just going to basically wire the negative, put a wire across from here to there for negative, and put a wire across from there to that one for positive, because this lead here went from there, right? That was the negative output. That one ends up over there. Now they are isolated. So yeah, I can just put a couple of jump wires across here, give them full power, and see how bright they are and how not. They're going to be too bright. I guarantee you they're going to be way too bright. We're going to have to deal with dimming them down, but we got to start somewhere, right? I know someone's going to ask what that beep, beep, beep was. It's just a reminder that my meter is going to shut down if I don't use it to save the battery. It's going to go into auto power off. That's all that beep, beep, beep is. The reason I'm doing it this way with these extra long wires is if I have to put a resistor on it, I just have to add it to the wire, and that will add a resistor on each one, and that will dim it down if I need to. But we'll see how they look. I don't know. Is that too bright? Well, they're nice and bright. That's for sure. Maybe that's okay. You know, that actually doesn't look too bad at all. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I got to pull them out again because I got a bit of dust on the inside of one of these lenses. I just got to blow out. But I just wanted to see how they looked, and I think we might be okay. What it is, I put the lights in facing towards the glass because it's got a frosted coating on here to distribute the light a little more evenly, and it doesn't look too bad actually. Make sure there's no dust in the meter. Close that up and then put a piece of tape around there to tape it shut like it was originally. Mounted back in the chassis now, and yeah, it's they're bright.
Fix your stuff. Lay back, repairs when the going gets tough.
Not bad.
From circuits to batteries, they're the crew you need. With every little fix they plan to see. Oh, 12 of it.
That's where my preview ended. That actually was a pretty good song. I like that one. Here's the next one.
Troubles, things start to break. You got a flickering light or a battery ache. You don't gotta worry, don't stress or pout. 12 off bids is what it's all about. Fixing up your gadgets, bringing back the flow. With a simple click, just watch your worries go. Troubleshooting magic, oh it's so neat. Turn up the volume, feel the beat. 12 off bids, they'll fix your stuff. Laid back repairs when the going gets tough. From circuits to batteries, they're the crew you need. With every little fix they plant a seed. Oh, 12 more fits.
Love it or hate it, you gotta admit it's amusing.
We got a story you want to hear about a little magic driving out the fear. Dusty shells and lots of tapes, memories lined up like old mistakes. My VCR's a relic of the past, but I know a crew that's built to last. 12 vault fits, they know the game. Bringing back to life, it's never the same. With a wink and a smile, they'll take the lead. Fixing up the old, planting that seed. Oh, 12 vault fits, they're the ones to call. Transforming dreams, making memories last. Oh yeah, feel that rhythm. 12 odd vids in the house. Let's go. Found a wreck in the alley, just a piece of junk. But my mind could see the beauty, it was ready to funk. Old tires and scrap metal, they don't know the score. With a twist of invention, we'll open the door, turning waste into wonder. It's an art we know. Like a jazz riff flowing smooth, watch it grow. We're the magicians of trash, here to break the mold. At 12 odd vids, we're turning garbage into gold. Oh, we're taking that waste, making it shine. 12 odd vids, baby, it's one of a kind. From the gutter to glory, that's how we roll, turning garbage into gold.
That's where it ends, right? So I cut them down when I did the intros.
Yeah, we got a story you'll want
I'll let them play out here.
about a little magic driving out the fear. Dusty shelves and lots of tapes, memories lined up like old mistakes. My VCR's a relic of the past, but I know a crew that's built to last. 12 ball vids, they know the game. Bringing back to life, it's never the same. With a wink and a smile, they'll take the lead. Fixing up the old, planting that seed. Oh, 12 ball vids, they're the ones to call. Transforming dreams, making memories last. Turn that old tape into a new stall.
Sounds like a commercial. I love it. I somehow missed the one in there for thank you for watching. So I'll play it now and say thank you for watching.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, big up to all the viewers. Listen to the vibes. Down in the heart of the beat, we're rolling tonight. 12 all vids, got the spark, everything's alright. From cars to the sounds that make you feel free. We're grateful for the love, you're the family. Late nights and bright lights, cruising the lane. With every video drop, you're calling our name, so we sing it loud.